We are live on Proline TV, the Ourlads Football Network, as we're talking more college football, and we're going to talk ACC football tonight, specifically the Miami Hurricanes, one of the leading contenders for the ACC Championship 2025. And whenever we talk about the Canes, we bring in Gary Ferman, publisher of CaneSport.com. Gary, good to talk to you. Good to see you again.
What's up, Greg? Always a pleasure, man.
Yeah, we just keep rolling here, and it's another year.
Another year.
Another year.
Hopefully not another disappointment.
Well, I guess that all depends. I hear what you're saying. I know, but look, I guess from the Miami perspective, this is they're a tough crowd. I mean, there's a lot of winning culture. People are used to that, even though I'm not sure there's how it's been so long, though, that you would think that there's like another generation that just doesn't know what that winning's like. 23
years or so, you know.
Absolutely. So
we thought we were back last year, Greg.
That's true.
It was looking pretty favorable there until they got derailed a little bit at the end. I'm still not quite sure how that happened, but
well, some people, especially some people I know, would point specifically to the head coach.
Yeah,
because that's what they like to do.
Yeah, but it's not the head coach's fault that the defensive coordinator flamed out at Georgia Tech and they gave up 300 yards rushing. It's not the head coach's fault that, you know, they fell apart at Syracuse. I mean, he has to share some of the blame. Obviously, he's the man in charge, but they didn't quite have it on defense last year, and then when the offense disappeared for the middle half of the Syracuse game, they were in trouble, and they ended up getting caught there too, and it kept them out of the ACC title game, and it kept them out of the playoff.
Yeah, remembering those great Miami teams, of course, they had such great players on both sides of the ball. But I just, for whatever reason, I just remember their defense more than their offense, that they were so loaded on that side of the ball. And when you're loaded like that defense with all those star athletes, boy, was it tough to beat Miami. And that's, like you said, that's that next ingredient that they need, because they proved it last year, and it looks like they should be fine again offensively this season. Yeah. So it is up to that defense, and that's why maybe it's a good way to start with the fact that they brought in, the biggest coaching change this offseason was on the defensive side of the ball, and it looks like it was a smart hire.
Yeah, very impressed with Corey Heatherman. He's a Greg Schiano disciple, and a guy that you could just see has a good continued future in the game of college football. And he's really changed the mood in the room at Miami, honestly. And they're very excited about the defense that they're bringing to the stadium this year and the personnel that they've been able to add that they feel makes them significantly better. They've done a really good job improving the middle of the roster, Greg, and a lot more depth, a lot more options to turn to, guys who have experience. And, I'm not going to make any crazy proclamations. We haven't seen it yet. We'll certainly see a lot on August the 31st when Notre Dame comes to Hard Rock Stadium. But, the look test going into the season and going into fall camp is very positive, and it looks like they are going to be significantly improved on that side of the ball.
So you've seen, obviously, this team every year, and even the last couple of years with Cristobal. So would you then say that from what you've seen already, still got a long way to go with camp, but still at this point, that this definitely is personnel-wise, is it without a doubt their best defense, or it's definitely an improvement from last year?
Well, they were pretty good on defense in 2017 when Manny Diaz was there too. But and they still have, I still feel like defensive tackle is a pain point.
Okay.
They hope that they're going to be in much better shape there. I'm not convinced that they're good enough there yet. The defensive backs, they've got 8 or 9 new bodies. I got to see these guys on the field before I really get too crazy about that, but it should be much better. Most of the rest of the football team looks pretty solid, Greg. So I think Miami has the potential to be a sleeper team in college football this year. I don't think anybody's predicting them, necessarily to win any championships or anything. But if Carson Beck comes through the way they hope he will, and are certainly paying him to be, and some of these guys can step up on the defensive line and make them stout at the line of scrimmage, I have no problem saying that Miami legitimately could be one of the sleeper teams in college football this year.
Well, the way I look at it is, and I know I come from a different perspective, not being a Hurricane fan my whole life or anything like that, but I just feel, and we've talked about this since Cristobal took over, it just seems to me that if they just can't get it done with Cristobal, then come on, what are we doing here? And that's why I feel confident that he is going to get it done. You just got to be patient.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's year 4. I don't think he's looking for anybody to be impatient. I think he feels like he's got a pretty good football team here, and they have no excuses. He's not an excuse guy, and but I think people will put too much focus on Cristobal. I really do. I mean, the guy's been working his butt off to improve the personnel in the program. He has done that. So now they got to go out and they got to win ball games, and he makes no bones about it. He doesn't ever claim that he's a defensive head coach. He is not. He needs his defensive coordinators to come through for him. And here we go into year 4, and he has yet to have that happen. Kevin Steele did not come through for him in tandem with Charlie Strong. And certainly Lance Guidry did not come through for him over the last couple of years. So, he needs his defensive coordinator to come through. He's got a really good offensive coordinator in Shannon Dawson. They've got a good offensive staff. He's very involved in the run game. He brought the Alabama run game to Miami, and they integrated it, with the air raid passing game that Shannon Dawson brought to the equation. And they feel like they've really put together a really good hybrid type of offense that can do a little bit of everything. And but he needs the guys on the defensive side of the coaching staff to come through and coach their kids, develop their kids, and show up on game day consistently week after week with a game plan that will allow them to win games. And if they do that, everyone's going to be saluting Cristobal, because the personnel improvement is absolutely there.
All right, let's dig into it then. And first of all, let's start with personnel-wise. Let's start with how is the health of the team? Is everybody that's important and integral to the success of this program ready to go by week 1?
It's 100% from what we could tell. There's some guys that they may try to nurse through training camp a little bit who have had some injury issues, but for the most part, they're 100% ready to go. There are no issues there at all.
Okay, and then let's move on now to recruiting, and I'm just talking about, of course, before we get to the actual
website.
Yeah, this is your website, CaneSport.com, and of course, that's what it's about. It's about really, well, you tell me what it's about for Hurricane fans out there. What do they get?
It's about everything. If you're a Hurricane fan, you need to be a subscriber to CaneSport. We've got a great staff, a great group of fans that are part of our community, and we bust it, man. 365 days a year, we are grinding to make our fans the most knowledgeable Miami fans on the planet. And I hope we accomplish that. A ton of recruiting coverage, a ton of team coverage. We have podcasts and shows on YouTube like this one. We try to entertain people around, year round. Come one, come all, man. We're there for you, and we'd love to have all those Hurricane fans out there at CaneSport.com. Okay, we'll have links in the description. We already have one, so if you're watching live, you can check it out right now. Of course, you're watching on demand. You can look for it. Just scroll down to the bottom of the page in the description area, and you'll be able to check it out just by popping on the area where all of our links are. So let's take a look at the recruiting class from 2025. And no surprise that Mario Cristobal, good class. Rivals ranked him 13th. And so this is his expertise. 15 4-stars coming in this class, including, it looks like, one of their top players being a quarterback, Luke Nickel from Georgia. So talk about this class and how many of these players
do you think have a chance to even contribute this season?
A few will contribute this season. Let's be realistic. You know, they got a pretty good, especially with the transfer portal imports, they've got pretty good depth up at the upper tiers of the depth chart. But, you know, just looking at your screen, Luke Nickel is a young quarterback who's going to be really good. And, you know, could break the mold, either he or Emory Williams next year could break the mold of going to the transfer portal for a quarterback.
Yeah, it would be nice.
Because both those guys are really, really good. I think Miami would like to get away from that if they could. You know, you go to the portal and get quarterbacks, it's enormously expensive. I mean, Carson Beck's costing them $4 million this year. And, you know, Cam Ward cost them a couple million last year. And that eats up a lot of your cap space, so to speak. So I think they would love to get to the point where they're developing their quarterbacks from within. But you can't play games with yourself either. You can't deceive yourself that you have something that you don't have. And the onus is on Luke Nickel, Emory Williams to develop this fall when the coaches get to December, they feel they've got what they need in that quarterback room, and they don't have to go shopping for a quarterback. It would help those kids. It would help the program to not have to spend that kind of money and apply that money to other areas of the roster. So we'll see what happens there. But just looking at your list here, the tight end Luka Gilbert, I love. This kid's a legitimate 6'7". I think he's going to grow to like 265, 270. Has incredible skills. He is going to be a big-time tight end. How much you're going to see it this year, I don't know. They got a kid there by the name of Elijah Lofton from Las Vegas, who's a second-year kid, who I think is going to be he's just such a stud football player. And, you know, I think he's going to be a real weapon for Miami, playing predominantly at the tight end position. But this Luka Gilbert kid's going to be really good. Brock Schott's a very good H-back. We'll see how some of these other guys develop. I mean, just looking at the list, I know S.J. Eftatuli is going to be, in my mind, a very good center. Joshua Moore, the wide receiver, I think is going to be a big-time player. Malachi Toney is an elite slot receiver who I think you're going to see a lot of this year. Hayden Lowe, defensive end, way beyond his years. He's going to contribute this year. I think he's going to be a really good player. The Dalen Upshaw wide receiver kid is a real sleeper. I mean, he was a 3-star. You weren't expecting a lot out of him, but you watch him in practice. He just makes play after play after play. I think he's one of the steals of the class. Donta Simpson is another one, a defensive tackle, came in and as a true freshman in spring practice was making plays very impressively. Kellen Wiley Jr. is going to be a good linebacker, I believe. So it looks to me like it's a good recruiting class, Greg. And but do they need them to do a lot this year? I don't think so.
Yeah. Okay. So just out of all of these guys, the guys that you seem the most excited about would be, of course, Nickel, but then you'll be Gilbert and Upshaw.
Yeah, but you know, like I said, there's a lot of guys on there that could pop.
Of course, yeah.
Max Buchanan's a good offensive lineman. I mean, it's a very good recruiting class. It really is.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the recruiting class. Now, of course, we're going to pop up the depth chart, the Ourlads depth chart, as we go through the transfer portal. And we'll start on offense. And, of course, you got Beck. And just starting with Beck. You know, it's interesting because I think just from what I hear, and like you say, maybe they're like a sleeper national championship kind of deal, whatever. And that could definitely be the case. And he would be a huge reason why. And I think it's incredible that that's happened because like a year ago, before, like just a year ago, before the last season, if somebody would have said that Carson Beck was going to start on the Miami Hurricanes, they would have thought, wow, Miami's got to be a true contender for the national title, because that's how highly people thought of Carson Beck. And all of a sudden, people just have soured on Beck. And I don't understand why.
I'm with you 100%. I don't understand it either. I mean, you know, this is a kid that everybody thought was the best quarterback in the country going into last season. And yeah, they had some tough moments at Georgia. And it didn't come together for them offensively the way they would have wanted it to. But you're putting it all on Carson Beck, and then you're playing for the damn national championship anyway. I mean, like, it's not like the team totally fell apart. He got hurt in the postseason. Ended up having to miss it at the end. But enormous pickup for Miami. I mean, this is a whale. I mean, but Pat Riley would call this a whale. He has to come through. They think he will. But you just never know in these deals. I mean, at the end of the day, these are games on Saturday afternoon, kids against kids. Okay. He's got to come through, but all signs are that he's healthy, and I'm expecting a really good model of Carson Beck. You might check back with me in a few weeks after they, go through some scrimmages and stuff. But like, I'm expecting him to be a really good quarterback this year.
Okay. Also on offense, would this be correct? Do you think that they'll have both Johnson and Daniels? I know Daniels more than Johnson, but talk about the rest of the offensive key transfers that you think will start.
JoJo Trader to me is a big key. I mean, he's a kid with enormous ability. Didn't get a chance to really show it that much last year. He's going to get a chance this year. They need him to come through. CJ Daniels is a little bit of a off the radar guy by way of Liberty and LSU. But he's going to get an opportunity to be a big time player this year and might be able to pull it off. The slot receiver where you've got Tony Johnson in there right now is going to be interesting. I think Malachi Toney is a freakish freshman that's going to challenge him quite a bit for playing time. That'll be interesting. I would certainly flip-flop him and Ray Joseph on that depth chart. Tony is going to be really special. The O-line, very, very, very good O-line. I think Matthew McCoy has a chance to beat out Ryan Rodriguez in training camp. And, the Brockemeyer kid came in through the transfer portal and is kind of like a stabilizer at center. I love the right side with Mainoa and as Cooper. So the running game, the Miami running game was one of the best in the country last year, and I think it'll be even better this year. Elijah Lofton, that tight end, nobody really knows who he is. I think they're going to find out very quickly. Just an incredible playmaker. Pound for pound might be one of the top 2 or 3 football players on the entire team.
Wow.
He could play several positions. He's just a freakish athletic kid. So that one will be interesting. And then at linebacker, the 1-2 punch of Fletcher and Lyle, to me, should be as good as any in the country. So very, very interested to see how this Miami offense comes together.
Okay, so those are the key guys as far as the transfers on offense. On defense, it looks like, according to Tucker, who does our depth charts, that is that accurate? You think there might be?
Yeah, I think he's about got it right. Mesidor and Bain at defensive end are 2 veterans that have to come through. I mean, they have got to be big time players for Miami this year. I think they will be. Justin Scott, to me, is one of the keys on the entire team. Was a 5-star coming out of high school. Fair or unfair? I mean, I was joking with him actually this afternoon. They put the 5-star tag, which is great when you're in high school, but then when you get to college and everybody expects you to walk through the door and be an All-American, it's not always so great. And, he was a kid that needed to spend time in the weight room, was not as strong as he needed to be to play college football. He's had a year to do that now, in a much better position. And this is going to be a big training camp for him. Ahmad Moten is a talented kid who at times just flashes and does great things out there on the football field, just doesn't do it consistently. And big question is, can he do it consistently this year? Linebackers at the middle linebacker spot, you can tell your boy Tucker, he's missing Mohamed Traore, who came from
the Rutgers kid, yeah.
I think he'll be the starter at that middle linebacker position, and they're very, very, very excited about him. Wesley Basainth is another kid that just hasn't been consistent enough. He's a senior now. They need a big year out of him. OJ Frederick is the only real returning starter who really did much last year. And you see all these guys in yellow that you got there at the defensive back positions that came in the portal. And they got to strike gold on some of these guys. And I think they're missing. I'm looking here. He's got Jacoby Thomas. Okay, yeah. I mean, Poyser and Thomas are two transfers that they're counting on a lot. Keontae Scott, kid from Auburn, being counted on. Xavier Lucas. I mean, these are all kids that they're counting on to be big time players. And then you look at the second team. You got Damari Brown, who's always been, injuries have held him back. We'll see if he's healthy. The Ethan O'Connor kid is a very interesting kid because he made a lot of plays last year at Washington State. And I think they're counting on him to be a big contributor here this fall. The Dylan Day kid at safety is one that should be on the cusp of breaking through. We'll see what happens there. He's a sophomore now. So they feel that this combination makes them much better on the defensive side of the ball.
Would the defensive backfield then, would you classify that as maybe the biggest question mark on the team?
To me, the biggest question mark is defensive tackle.
Okay.
These DBs have played some football and they got some talent. I'm more concerned about defensive tackle, than I am defensive back.
Okay.
Moton's got to come through and be consistent, and Justin Scott has got to develop in time for August. If those two things don't happen, I'm very concerned.
They don't have a whole lot of depth, it looks like, or at least.
No, these guys, they got to come through. There's no doubt about it.
Okay, that makes sense.
David Blay, from Louisiana, is a transfer that's a big deal also.
Okay. All right, so let's go with breakouts. You've been good with this. I appreciate this. I cheer. Makes me look smart. So you've already mentioned Lofton's got to be a breakout, of course, because nobody knows who he is outside of Miami. So let's start on offense. So Miami's had some really good, as we know, tight ends, as good as any tight end factory in college football. So you're saying Lofton is just another one in the long line of great ones to come.
No question about it. The only question for me is how much is he going to get the football? But I got to believe he's going to get it a lot. It would be negligent a little bit if he didn't. I would keep an eye on the Jordan Lyle kid at running back.
Jordan Lyle, okay.
He flashed obviously as a true freshman. They quietly think he could be as good as any of the great Miami running backs that have played in the program. Yeah, they love Jordan Lyle, and Mark Fletcher's more proven. I think this will be a big year for Jordan Lyle. So in terms of breakout, I'd keep an eye on Markel Bell. To me, is a kid. I mean, big 6'7" kid. He came from junior college and has just made incredible progress over a year and a half now. I think he's going to be a very good player this year. Nez Cooper, the senior right guard, is a little underappreciated. He's a very good player.
Okay. And then on defense, give me some breakout players here.
Breakout players on defense.
Do you have enough confidence in Justin Scott?
Not yet. No.
Okay.
Nope. I haven't seen it yet. I got to see it with my own two eyes before I say he's going to be a breakout guy. They're hoping he's going to be a breakout guy. Wow. Amanda Blunt is a guy that I think is going to emerge this year. Is a young kid who's been making some very quick progress. I would certainly throw his name out there. Kellen Wiley, who you're highlighting there, he's a freshman who I think is going to be very, very good. How much of a factor that's going to be this year, I'm not so sure.
Okay.
We'll have to see.
Seems like more breakout guys on offense, though.
There's no question. Yeah, I mean, all these guys on defense are unproven, Greg. I mean, there's a lot of roster turnover there, a lot of transfer presence. But I feel comfortable saying Armando Blunt could be that breakout guy this year for sure. And I think the Traore kid, the transfer, is one.
Yes. Yeah. He's just got to stay healthy.
Well, he's been hurt for like 2 years almost. Yeah. So, but if he stays healthy, he is going to be a big time player, I believe.
I agree. Okay. And by the way, how's the special teams going to be? Are they going to? Is this an issue, a strength, just
It's
another?
a strength. It's a strength. I mean, listen, Bert Auburn had a rough end to the season.
Yeah, he had to leave Texas. Yes,
that's why he left Texas. It was going to be too toxic for him there. But from everything I've heard, he's shaken off that experience. He's kicking very, very well in workouts. No rush yet. It's just been kicking balls out on the field. Now they're going to go live in training camp. It's going to get a little bit better, a little bit more difficult. And this Carter Davis kid is a very good kicker, another transfer. So that's going to be an interesting competition. But Bert Auburn has the experience edge, I think, there, having kicked to Texas. And a punter with Dylan Joyce, they're in great shape. So, and they're picking up Marion is huge. You don't get to return a lot of kicks right now in college football, but when somebody doesn't kick it out of the end zone, the Marion kid, he's one of the best kick returners, if not the best in the country.
Okay, and then you've already, of course, you've gone through all of the pretty much every notable player, but who would be considered the top pro prospects outside of course, Beck? Give me, and of course, I know you've talked about a few of them, but people who may not really be attuned to what's going on with Miami, let them know who. And you mentioned a couple of them on the defensive line. Bain and Messidor have got to be up there, right?
Yeah, well, Bain for sure. Yeah, Messidor is not as highly regarded as Bain. He'll get drafted, but Bain is one that could go, could develop into a first rounder. Manoa at offensive tackle for sure is going to be picked very high. Carson Beck, if he has a great year, he'll get drafted. Could be a first round draft pick. Bell and Cooper to me have a shot to not be first rounders, but to attract significant attention from the NFL. So I'd keep an eye on him as well. And Mark Fletcher Jr., if he has a big year this year, will certainly get drafted.
Okay. Now, as we wrap up, I want to talk about, because I know we'll have an opportunity to talk during the season, but the Notre Dame game is just going to be I don't even know what the right adjective would be, but it's going to be
bloodbath. How about bloodbath?
I like that one.
That is going to be a physical bloodbath football game. Notre Dame's going to come down the Hard Rock. They got a new quarterback. They are going to, that Love kid at running back. He is really special.
Yes.
And they're going to come down and try to pound the football. There's no doubt in my mind. And they still have a pretty good defense. It's good to me. Miami, Notre Dame opening weekend, August 31st, under the lights at Hard Rock. I mean, that's going to be one of the best games of the year in college football, potentially, I think. And it's going to be a special night in Miami.
It's great to start off the college football season in the first week with Texas, Ohio State, Miami, and Notre Dame.
Yeah,
that gets us right into it.
Let's go.
Let's
go. Let's get there.
Notre Dame's a 2.5-point favorite right now on the road. And as far as Miami, they are take a look at some more lines. They are 9.5 over. That's the win total. At plus 135. So even though it's 9.5, the under's minus 160. So it's 9.5 or lower. They're actually, that's the peak there at 9.5. And I was looking at the schedule. So let's pop up the schedule here.
I think that's fair. I think it's a fair bar. I really do.
Okay. So that would mean, of course, that they'd have to just lose twice during the regular season. And Notre Dame is the big one. Then you've got Florida on September 20th. So Florida is going to want revenge after getting beat up last year, but they get one at home. What do you think is good? What do you think about Florida State this year?
I just spoke to some people up in Tallahassee yesterday, and they don't really know what to think. The coaching is going to be better. You got Gus Malzahn running the offense. So the coaching is going to be better, and that they've got athletes in that program. I mean, there's no way they don't. It's just going to be a question whether they can, pull it all together. I can't, I listen. I think the Miami game at Florida State is going to be a difficult game. It's a rivalry game. You're going to get their best. And, it figures to be one of the tough games of the season. Even when Miami was, at the top of college football, they still always had 4 or 5 games a year that were hanging in the balance in the fourth quarter. I mean, everybody thinks that you're going through college football seasons and not playing tight games. There's too much parity out there, too many good coaches. You look at Miami last year, whoever would have imagined the game that they had, say, at Cal, or the home game against Virginia Tech, or the game at Georgia Tech, the game at Syracuse. You're going to have some tough games in the mix here. And, I think Florida State's got a chance to be one of them.
Okay. And then overall, the ACC, I think the ACC is going to be crazy to predict. There's just a lot of possibilities with the ACC.
A lot of parity, Greg.
A lot of parity.
And there's good coaching in the ACC, and there's good quarterbacks in the ACC, and they don't get a lot of respect in this conference. But I think it's better than people think. I really do.
I agree.
And I think it's going to be a good year for the ACC.
Yeah. I mean, you can go even just looking at this schedule. Louisville is going to be strong again. SMU's got a quarterback, so, they're going to be tough. And then you don't know how good Virginia Tech and Pittsburgh can be.
Correct. And you got to play them in the road in November.
Yep. So again, it is, I understand why some people might say, well, I don't know if they can get over 9, because that means that they'd have to beat a lot of teams here and not slip up. That's the thing that's really been the bugaboo so far in Cristobal's tenure, has been that game you just can't lose.
The slip-ups, the losing the Georgia Tech at home, in those fluke circumstances, suddenly not being able to stop the run at Georgia Tech, not being able to defend the pass at Syracuse. Those are things that have slowed down this reclamation of Miami. They've done everything they could do to try to be a more complete team this year. They held the administration gave them the funds to go into the portal and get what they need, and they did the best. They absolutely laid it all out there and have done the best they could to put this roster together. So we'll see.
Yeah. So here's the before I let you go. Then, so again, here's the schedule: Notre Dame. Then there's Florida on the 20th. There's Florida State. And there's the rest of the matchups here. Also, let's keep in mind they're the second choice in the ACC at 4-1, just behind Clemson. So they are. Vegas believes that they should be in the ACC title game at least, and they're 40-1 as far as the national championship odds. And Beck, by the way, is 22-1
to win the Heisman.
To win the Heisman, because look, you got to put it this way: if they're going to be in contention for a championship, then Beck would then have to be one of the top 3 or 4 Heisman candidates, because there's no way that they're going to be in contention for a championship without Beck having a phenomenal season.
100%. Yeah.
So
that's why the odds are what they even are. Yeah. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Listen, it all has to come together, but it's also a little scary. I mean, there's not a lot of gimmies on that list. I mean, when you look at that,
I mean, just Stanford, maybe.
Yeah, Stanford. That would maybe. Yeah, it should be a gimme, a home game.
Conference
Stanford.
Games, of course, we're talking about.
Yeah, they're like even the out of conference. Florida and Notre Dame are legit opponents.
Yeah, those two are.
How many teams in the country are playing 2 teams out of their 4 out of conference games at that level? Not too many. I mean, it's going to be so exciting. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I like the entertainment in football season. This is going to be an interesting year. I mean, a lot of very, very, very competitive games. Syracuse, they don't have the quarterback anymore, but they're not going to be terrible. I mean, SMU, like you said, coming back with their quarterback should be tough. Very well coached team. So
no Clemson, so that's good. Maybe you don't have to play him till the championship game.
You hope that you get to the championship game and play them. Yeah, but man, that would be great if it played out that way.
Yeah. So
gotta happen one of these days, Greg.
It will.
the Canes have got to get it done at some point here. So
they will. Cristobal is too good of a recruiter, and it's just going to take time. That's why you said with the whole quarterback deal, and I think that's important with the whole team, is you just keep recruiting like you're recruiting, and eventually develop these kids. And like you said, also on defense, now he's got a defensive coordinator that knows how to coach. It just next couple of years, and again, I like the fact though that they are a long shot this year because hey, you never know. And sooner or later, if they keep winning, you're going to be wishing you got 40-1 one of these years because they're just going to keep getting better, and they're going to end up one of those 20-1, 15-1 type teams in the next couple of years.
But like he has been one of the best head coach recruiters in the country. But I'm telling you, this transfer portal and this NIL that's come into the college game has neutralized to a degree that edge in recruiting, because so many of these kids, it's all about how much money you're going to pay them. And, now you're managing budgets and salary caps. And, you might want a kid I'll give you an example right here from this year. This Derek Cooper, running back out of Hollywood Chaminade High School, one of the best, running backs in the country. Miami could not have recruited him harder. Texas comes in and slams $1.2 million down on the table for this high school running back. And, It's like, if you're Miami, you want the kid, but, if you go pay this kid $1.2 million, like every running back on your team is going to say, what the hell?
Yeah.
Like, we're not getting 1.2 million. Like, what the hell is this all about? So you got to be really careful. It's like they got a commitment from a kid, Jackson Cantwell, top offensive tackle in the country. I don't know what the number is. I think it's certainly over $1 million. It might be $2 million, but he's one of the top recruits in the country. But you're losing Francis Minoa at that left tackle position after this year, who is sucking up a lot of NIL cap space. I mean, he's got a very lucrative NIL deal. And so when you're taking that off your books, you can replace him with another high-priced guy. But you can't pay every kid on your team $1 million or more. And, and it's a problem because every time you do, like, you go get the top recruit in the country, I don't think your backup offensive tackles can sit there and say, what the hell are you guys doing?
What am I doing here? Yeah.
Why aren't I getting $1 million? You haven't earned anything yet. But if you're an elite running back, like what they have at Miami, and we don't know if they'll both be back next year or what the deal is, they could certainly walk in and make an argument that they're worth as much or more money as a kid coming out of high school who hasn't done a damn thing at the college level yet. And, so these are delicate things that have become part of the college game the coaches have to deal with. I think it's neutralized Cristobal a little bit, recruiting at the high school level. And I think that's why we see Miami relying so much on the transfer portal every year.
Yeah, I wonder if it's still going to take time to figure this all out because there's still a lot of changes going on. But I do wonder, I got to believe at some point that some coach or coaches will start to figure out that, we can still recruit and develop and pay our guys a certain way where it will make more sense if we do it right, that's still going to be a way for us to be successful. Now, I don't see that happening in the next couple of years, but I would think at some point, because that's what happens in the big leagues. At some teams they can't afford, they develop. And I think that's what some teams in college. Now, look, if you're a Miami, I don't know if that's going to be your MO because you're always going to have to go out and play the big transfer game. But I think there's a lot of other programs that might be able to say, hey, let's develop these kids a certain way, and especially if we can recruit. But I hear you.
There's always somebody coming to South Florida with an open checkbook. I
hear you.
It's a big problem for Miami because, it's like 1 year it's Ohio State coming in and snagging, JJ at Ohio State. The next year, now it's Derek Cooper. It's like there's always, Texas. There's always somebody. How you put Jeremiah Smith on Miami last year?
Yeah.
Like, it changes the whole season.
Sure.
I mean, it takes them to a whole nother level, and maybe they overcome their defense, and they're playing deep into the playoffs without question. Maybe they win the national title if they have that kid, you know? So, you know, Ohio State could come in here on a one-off and lay that bag on the table like that, you know? And, you know, if you asked Miami today, you know, would they maybe have upped the ante a little bit over in that situation? I would bet they probably would. But you know, things are changing constantly, and you make the best decisions that you can at the time. And it can get really, really, really difficult. You know, it really can.
What do you think about this comment?
Well, the parents raising these South Florida kids, I mean, they're all getting rich. I mean, you know, all these kids talk about is want to take care of their moms and their families, and you know, get new homes and things like that. I mean, you know, this has become very parent driven, and all these kids have agents now, and it's wild, man. The high school kids with agents, and you know, I know for a fact these parents get involved. I mean, these parents they start demanding some pretty big paydays. You know, it's interesting.
Yeah, not exactly what you want to see, but it is. It's just all over the place right now. It is what it is. You got to handle it the best way possible. And we just got to hope within the next couple of years they're going to figure out how to just make this work where it's not so nuts. So, but anyway, in the meantime,
this group of kids right now, though, Greg, man, are they capitalizing?
Oh, they are. Yep. We'll look back on this a few years from now. Yep.
Wow.
This is, like they say, it's the Wild West right now. Everybody knows it. And it's one of those deals, too, where you know, the kids that are coming up maybe a year or two away, they're seeing this. Oh, I can't wait to. But at some point,
they're praying it doesn't change.
Yeah, at some point it's going to.
Trump, stop doing executive orders. Do not change a damn thing. Wait, let me get my share. You know.
Exactly, but at some point it will. But hey, that's.
I don't know how it's sustainable. Like
it's not.
So, I mean, listen, they're talking about now revenue sharing $20 million.
Yes,
you know,
and that's okay.
But there's going to still be NIL on top of that. So, I mean, we're like, you know, $25 million college football rosters are the norm right now. I mean, it's.
I think. I mean, as long as and I think even what I heard when they were talking about that is but. Let's make sure that you have some sort of a monitoring of these NIL deals, because that's
they're going to try to do that. But the lawsuits are going to be coming. I promise.
Well,
how does this little committee over here that's going to oversee the screening of these NIL deals? How are they supposed to make a decision on what Jeremiah Smith is worth? Jeremiah Smith or anybody else is worth what they can command, okay? And if the collective at School A wants to give a kid $500,000 to represent it and do some signings and things like that, and they think that kid is worth that, you're telling me a committee is going to say, no, that's ridiculous. He can't do that. If I'm that kid, I'm suing that committee. Like there's no tomorrow. Like who are you guys to tell me what I'm worth? I'm worth what the marketplace commands.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for the NCAA to fix this. That's why it's somebody else, whether it's the government, someone else, a higher authority is definitely going to be able to figure out how to police it.
That's great. I have a hard time imagining the government.
The government, I know,
creating jurisdiction over college football.
Yeah, who's worse at business, the government or the NCAA?
Right. We'll see how that works out.
Yeah. Gary, again, this is jam-packed with games. Notre Dame, Florida, I mean, they're all over the place, which means that I look forward to calling on you several times during the season and having a week game preview. And in the meantime, you can check out the links in the description of this video. That's where you can find out all about the Miami Hurricanes through Gary Ferman. And
CaneSport.com. It's right up there at the top of your screen.
There it is. You like that, huh?
Right next to PTV and Ourlads. Yeah.
That's it. It's a nice team there. Gary, appreciate it. I look forward to talking to you when the season begins.